Balancing XP budgets. Is this too soon after the last fight? Challenge rating doesn't work anyway. You spend 2 weeks beautiful minding the calculus for the most balanced combat encounter in the history of ever. The time comes to fight and it's just, meh. Balance is boring. Hey there adventurers, I'm Judd and this is Short Rest Studios. Yeah, balance is boring and it burns you out. You spend so much time trying to design encounters that give your players just enough of a challenge, but not too much, and then it just fizzles. You don't enjoy building it, the players didn't enjoy playing it, there was no adventure, no unpredictability, no fun. Today I want to show you how you can recapture the fun of your D&D campaign, and when I say D&D, I really mean any tabletop RPG, and maybe even spend less time prepping, or at least spend more prep time on the stuff you actually like. You do it by remembering that combat shouldn't be fair. Forget balance. Before we jump in, if you've been adventuring with me for a while, would you consider joining the Adventurers Guild on Patreon? As a member of the guild, you'll be helping me pay the bills so I can keep creating content for you here on the channel. Plus, you'll get guild-only content like behind-the-scenes posts, a view into my creative world. Did you know I'm writing a novel? Member-only live streams, and even some fantastic custom emojis coming soon. All for an affordable monthly subscription. Check out the membership levels at patreon.com/shortreststudios. When you forget balance, how do you choose the enemies your players are going to face? There are really just 2 criteria. First, the monsters need to make sense. Choose monsters that fit in the setting your encounter is going to happen in. Don't put a myconid in a sunny meadow. Don't put a shambling mound in the desert. Don't put a mimic. That's just dumb. There is nowhere a mimic doesn't belong. These are very obvious, silly examples. You probably weren't going to do that, but sometimes if you're too worried about balancing the encounter quote-unquote properly, you might be tempted to use a creature of appropriate CR that doesn't really fit your world, or isn't what you were envisioning. Don't do it. Go for what makes sense in your campaign world. Side note, that doesn't mean it has to make sense in everybody else's campaign world. The second criterion, make it cool. Yes, I'm talking about the most important rule of all adventurers, the rule of cool. If you have a cool idea, make it happen. Trust me, players with low-level characters will find it infinitely more fun while exploring a mystical forest to stumble upon a green dragon's lair than to fight in another perfectly balanced encounter. That's how you choose your monsters. Now, how do you use your monsters? Let's say you think it'd be really cool to have a rust monster dropping out of the trees in your mystical forest onto unsuspecting adventurers. The problem is, a raw rust monster doesn't make sense. But as the game master, you have the power to make that make sense in your world. Don't be afraid to change things up. If rust monsters hang out in the trees in your world, give them characteristics that make that logical. Maybe they hang out there because there are dwarves in your world who mine a rich vein of ore that exists only in this forest floor. They don't need to live underground here, so rust monsters have evolved limbs and suckers and natural camouflage that allow them to hide in the treetops and drop onto unsuspecting miners or adventurers and eat their ore and armor and weapons. Don't be bound by the monster manual. You're the DM. And don't just change how they look. You're free to change anything about them. Give them tactics. Give them new abilities and weapons. Just because the monster manual says goblins carry short bows and scimitars doesn't mean you can't give them little gobbo warhammers. Ever heard of Tucker's Kobolds? Dragon Magazine number 127, 1987. Roger E. Moore.
What a helpful chap.
No, not that one. This one. Roger E. Moore publishes an editorial that tells the story of a D&D group he joined when he was stationed at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. The DM's name was Tucker, and Tucker was running a crazy dangerous dungeon. According to the article, it had corridors that changed all of your donkeys into huge flaming demons or dropped the whole party into acid baths. But the worst thing in the dungeon, what brought terror into the hearts of every adventurer who found themselves there, were the Kobolds. They were just regular Kobolds, facing down parties of adventurers level 6 through 12. But these guys were armored and had light crossbows and Molotov cocktails. They didn't come at the party head on. They shot at them through murder holes in the ceiling or locked them in a corridor and set it on fire. Even a low CR enemy can be a challenge and loads of fun if you run it with creativity and tactics that make sense. That's how you make a lame monster cool. You can run these kinds of encounters in any system, D&D 5e, Pathfinder, whatever. But one of the reasons I love Dungeon Crawl Classics, and this is a characteristic it shares with other old school leaning games, is that it's designed for this. Balance isn't really a thing in DCC, and there are bestiaries available for DCC, but the game is really designed for you to come up with your own monsters. This really creates all kinds of opportunities for some crazy fun. Incidentally, if you want some help with monster tactics, you should really check out Keith Ammon's book, The Monsters Know What They're Doing. I'm going to drop a link to that in the description. One final piece of advice: if you've been trying to play a balanced game up until now, and you want to make this shift, do not just drop it on your players next game night. I'd let them know ahead of time, hey, here's what I'm thinking I'd like to do next session. If you're feeling burnt out or you're not having fun, if you feel like they're not having fun, tell them that so they know why you're making the change. Transparency is a good thing, and I guarantee you that if you're in the right group, they want you to have fun as much as you want them to. And when you tell them, let them know that, and I think this is something that we GMs should help our players remember anyway. There are more strategies and tactics available to them than what's on their character sheet. Instead of just running right into hack and slash mode, they can use deception, try crazy stunts, they can run away. Anything is up for grabs. You're not going for a TPK, and if they're willing to branch out, they can experience cooler encounters and have more fun and more stories to tell. Remember to check out the Adventurers Guild membership levels at patreon.com/shortreststudios. And if you have some crazy, unbalanced, in every sense of the word, D&D combat stories to share, drop those in the comments. If you want one more mechanic that will level up the unpredictability in your combat encounters, watch this video next.